how do we access that self?
Okay.
Is it difficult to access?
Oh, it depends on how stubborn you are.
Or how needed you are?
Yeah. No, it's sort of, you go in the way you wouldn't expect. You don't just go towards it and grabbing it, what you do is you look for all the parts of you who don't really want it, or who are in the way and scared, or something like that. And you don't just shove them aside, you turn towards them with love and care, and form a warm enough relationship with them. And then they'll be very open to having this self-energy in the system and having the self-energy lead. So it's sort of, you look in the opposite direction from where you think you would need to look. A phrase for this is, IFS is a constraint release model. We focus on getting the garbage out of the way, getting the problems and obstructions and burdens out of the way, in the sure knowledge that that sacred center of who we are is there. And all we need to do is get the stuff out of the way.
So what do you mean by parts, Bob? You said you get the parts out of the way.
Okay. I'm loving these questions. We humans, our minds are made up of parts. We're not one central unified operating system. And almost everybody's aware of like an inner critic, a voice inside their head that's telling them what an idiot they are most of the time. Or often people are aware of very hurt young parts of themselves, who sometimes get triggered or stimulated, and then the person becomes very sad. And our structure, and we're aware of like manager parts who get us up to go do the job in the morning and all of this. There's a whole bunch of these parts. And this part structure is not caused by trauma. It's natural and beneficial that we're arranged this way. If you think about computers, you cannot have a computer that's just one centralized glob. It has to have all these subroutines, these modules, these separate things. Our brains are like that. In order to function at the level of complexity we do, we need to have many largely encapsulated parts that are relatively sparsely interconnected with all the other parts. So we are a system of parts. We're not one unified thing. And so for IFS, the model of healing is not smushing all this together, like putting everybody in a blender. The model is much more, most people walk around and they're a civil war. Most of their energy goes into fighting themselves on many different levels. And I'm sure if you've ever had an argument in your head about, I want to quit that job, no, I need to make money, or I want to leave my husband, no, I need to stay, there's an internal war going on. And there's so many of these. The idea of IFS is we want to turn all these internal wars into like a symphony orchestra or a great jazz band that's playing together. So there's cooperation and mutual help instead of this constant wearing internal warfare.